Good afternoon and welcome to Cool Tech for Lawyers. If you are here, you are cool, or you find technology to be cool. Either way, you are welcome. My name is Mary Claire Garber and I'm a principal with Princeton Legal Search Group. We help legal teams grow, whether in-house or within law firms. Also on the call today is David Garber, also a principal of Princeton Legal Search Group, and Liz Rizzolo, a legal recruiter. This is a webinar for Cool Tech for Lawyers, and as such, there will be time for Q&A at the end of the program. Feel free to type your questions into the Q&A box, and we will hold them till the end. So this way you can capture your question and we'll make sure it gets answered. Since this is a webinar, your identity is not available to others and we respect your privacy. The webinar is being recorded and will be sent to participants. Let me turn now to Sterling Miller, who is our featured speaker today. Sterling has enjoyed a wide and varied 30-year legal career, although he looks much younger, and is a three-time general counsel, having served in that role at Marketco, Inc., Sabri Corporation, and Travelocity. He has managed international teams handling a myriad of complex legal issues, including bet the company litigation, M&A, government affairs, data privacy, and commercial agreements. Sterling earned his law degree from Washington University in St. Louis and his bachelor's degree from Nebraska Wesleyan University, where he was student body president, among other honors. He is certified by the IAPP-CIPP-US and is a sought-after commentator on legal matters and a frequent speaker at legal industry bar associations. He consults with in-house legal departments around the globe and coaches in-house lawyers. Sterling also serves on the board of directors at TerraSol Superfoods and the advisory board of Travify.com. He publishes an award-winning, widely read legal blog entitled 10 Things You Need to Know as In-House Counsel, and is where I found him and have been an avid reader of his blog for at least the last 8+ years and enjoy his blogs tremendously. A link will be posted at the end of the webinar, or a link and Sterling's contact information will be posted at the end of the webinar. He also has published 4 books: The Evolution of Professional Football, The Slow Cooker Savant, which I have just recently ordered and looking forward to trying, and 2 books for the American Bar Association focusing on legal issues important to in-house lawyers. The second book, 10 More Things You Need to Know as In-House Counsel, More Practical Advice and Successful Strategies, Volume 2, was released by the ABA in November 2019. You can follow him on LinkedIn and Twitter. A screen with contact information will be included in the presentation. But I will say that Sterling has a really nice approach toward legal, practical, and technology, and we certainly hope that you enjoy the presentation and the webinar today. Welcome.
Wow, thank you for that wonderful introduction. Hope I can live up to even part of that. So I'm going to share my screen, hopefully, if the technology works, and you should be seeing the first slide of Cool Tech for Lawyers. So Mary Claire, if you could just nod that you're seeing it, that would be very helpful. Yes. Okay, great. So we have a lot to cover today. I'm very excited to be here. This is one of my topics in the world, technology. So let's just dive on in here and get it working. There we go. So here's what we're going to cover. We're going to talk about cool tech that just makes your work life easier, for apartments, and cool tech for remote work. And you'll see how all of those bleed together. They're not mutually exclusive in any way. I also have some resources for you. And of course, we'll have some time for questions at the end. And if we don't get to all of your questions during the session, we'll take them offline and I'll answer them. And you can always ask me something offline, even if you don't feel like asking a question today. So we already talked about who is this guy. Now, I'm not going to belabor this. The one thing I will that I kind of fun, I got to do this last year, is I created a module on artificial intelligence and litigation for Baylor Law School, which was a lot of fun. And artificial intelligence is one of those things we're not going to talk about today. We could do an entire session on that. It's really exciting. Some of the things we'll talk about, though, do use artificial intelligence, so there's a little bit of it in there. But if you want more on that, I did write a blog on it, and I think that one is mentioned later on. So let's go ahead and get started. So I was trying to figure out why Mary Claire asked me to talk today, and I was also interested about the topic because there was a lot of topics people could have selected, but the one that rose to the top was technology. And I realized that I love technology, but I also realize I'm not the only one, right? So there seems to be something about technology that really grabs people's attention, gets them excited, and we're always looking for the next thing. What is the next thing to happen in the world of technology? And why is that? Well, there's a lot of things about technology that are very positive. There are some negatives. Talk about those today. Let's talk about the positives, right? So it frees up time. The technology to be more productive. It makes you feel smarter, right? For some reason, if that computer is cranking something out and spits it back to you, you feel good. Everything looks good typed up. Everyone looks smarter with the spreadsheet and charts and graphs. So that's part of technology. That also makes it fun. There's just something interesting about trying new technology, seeing how it works, seeing what it can do, and just getting your hands dirty, so to speak. Makes us, meaning it saves wear and tear on paper. This little bad boy here, our phone, there is more power in this phone than powered the Apollo 11 mission to the moon. Which is always something that amazes me. And if you think about all the things you can do in that one device and how many devices it has replaced, you start to see how the green effect comes about due to technology. That also leads us to saving money. And what's really cool experiencing today, it allows us to connect in new and different ways. And that's all really exciting and really fun stuff. And I think that's probably the core of why we all love technology. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to go through what I am calling my greatest of cool tech. So one of the blogs that I write every year, usually in the summer, is called Cool Tech. And I've done that for quite a while now. The latest one is here. There's a link to it in 2020. And what I typically do is I spend some time trying to figure out what is the neat and cool technology for lawyers out there. And then I pick 10, hence the name things, and I share that with my readers. And I try to find a range of technology that's from free to moderately expensive. I tend to stay away from the really expensive things. I also like to find things that are easy to use versus complicated. And I like to cover the gamut from things that are kind of aimed at legal issues to things that are just aimed at everyday life. There, I'll just remind you, I receive nothing to make these recommendations. I don't get paid. I just find technology that I think is worth recommending to people, and that's what we're going to do today. So what we're going to do, first, let's start with technology that makes our work life easier. And I'm going to list, I don't know, probably 6 or 7 things that I think would really fit that bill. So number one, I can get this to change. So this lexology.com. This is actually a website. It's free. It costs you nothing. And I found this years and years ago when I was at one of my in-house stops. And what they do is, those law firm client alerts and blogs that are out there. Well, this brings them all together into one place. And you can sign up for this. Again, it's free. You can sign up by, I want to see, things in North America. I want to see things in Europe. You can pick the different topics that you want to see. And then every day you get an email, and those topics are covered with whatever the latest and greatest, like I said, law alerts or other materials that are germane to that topic. And I read this every day, and I always find something useful and valuable. I probably have 20 different topics picked. You can see here, there's competition and antitrust, insurance, IT data protection. There's a whole bunch of, if you go on the website, you also get access to something called Getting the Deal Through, which used to be a separate company. Lexology bought them a couple of years ago. That is another great resource that in one place, if you pick a legal topic, let's say dispute resolution, it will give you a high-level summary for maybe 80 or 85 countries. Like, what is the dispute resolution process like in France, in Canada, in the United States? And if you're an in-house lawyer in particular, or maybe you're just trying to answer a quick question, that can be extremely valuable. And again, it's free. It's really great, and I love it. If you're like me, I have everything saved to my computer, and I have trouble finding it. There is a search tool that comes along with Office, with Windows. It's not the greatest. I think the greatest is this solution here, Copernic desktop search. There is a free version. It's not as powerful as it used to be, but the versions that you have to pay for are not very expensive. But once you sign up for this, if there is something on your computer, be it a Word document, an email, an image, something on a server, whatever it may be, if you want to find it, you can find it with this tool. And I have found this extremely valuable, especially since the amount of material continues to grow and grow exponentially on my laptop, and the difficulty in finding things is hard. I now have probably hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of folders that I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of files inside, and it gets harder and harder. This solves that problem. Again, there's a free version and there's a paid for version. Freeconferencecall.com. Now, a couple of years ago, this was my default go for webinars, for video conferencing, for conferencing with Teams, with Zoom, like we're on today. Those, I would say, are starting to supplant freeconferencecall.com. But there's one thing that freeconferencecall.com has that those other services don't, and that is the ability in, I think, close to 100 countries to use your phone to call in to a toll-free number and be connected to a bridge. So if you want to set up a conference call with someone in Australia, someone in Bulgaria, someone in Chile, and they don't have the ability to use their computer to connect in for some reason, this will allow you to set up a real old-fashioned bridge line where people can call in and make those calls. It also, of course, provides all the other services like video conferencing, screen sharing, and again, it's totally free. It's an amazing service, works extremely well, and I use it primarily now for the landline purpose, but it still works for the other things. Grammarly, this is another free tool. There's a paid version. I've never signed up for the paid version. I've always found the free version to be extremely powerful. What this will do, once you download this, and it becomes an application, a plugin on your browser. I use Chrome primarily. It also works with Microsoft Edge, but with Chrome, for example, or with any Office product, I'm typing something in Word. If I'm typing a post in LinkedIn, if I'm preparing my 10 things blogs, Grammarly goes along with me, and it points out grammatical errors, spelling errors, complicated sentences that maybe you can simplify. It does things, and it does it better than spell check in Microsoft. Now, the one thing I'll caution you about is you do not want to become over-reliant, because sometimes it's wrong. And it may be wrong because it's just wrong, right? It's not reading what you're writing correctly. Sometimes it's wrong because it doesn't sound right what it wants you to do. And write the way you want to write, make it sound the way you want to sound. And if that's not perfect grammar, that's okay. You're not writing to the Supreme Court of the United States. If you're just writing a blog, you're just writing a blog. But I have found this to be an extremely valuable tool. And again, it's free, works on all kinds of things. And it actually finds things that I found spell check has missed. So Grammarly should be something that you should be looking into.
I'm a fan of Grammarly, particularly in remote locations like with LinkedIn and Twitter, where you might not necessarily be thinking, if you're sitting down and writing a document, you're thinking more about your writing. But if it's something that you're responding to quickly, it catches small things, but important things.
Yes, it does. And it's saved me on emails where I go, oh, wow, yeah. The common errors like there and there, or were and where, and all those, all here and here. You get in a hurry, you get typing, Grammarly will catch it. Yeah. Another free tool, this is Nimbus Capture. All of the screenshots that you're going to see today in the presentations where I just went to the website and captured the screen, I did on Nimbus over the past week. It's free. It's a great tool. It's another plugin for your web browser. Anything that you can put on the screen, it can capture. It can record video. So if you want someone, here's how you do it, and you're all the steps, it can record it. It can capture the screen. It can capture a portion of the screen. You can scroll and capture the entire page of the website, even the things that fall what we call below the fold. So if there's anything that you want to share and then use in a presentation, in a document, in a PowerPoint, or whatever the case may be, Nimbus is a great tool to do. And if you've ever found yourself using print screen as a substitute, this just kicks the crap out of print screen. The images are crystal clear. And it's really, really easy to use. Again, completely free. And I use this on probably several times a week. And certainly if I'm going to present, it's kind of my go-to tool for that. One of the things that I have struggled with, and I'm sure we all are finding this, is how do I get out of the loop of endless emails about scheduling conference calls? You have 3 or 4 people you need to bring into a call, and you've all been part of that email chain, right? Well, I can do it at 6, I can do it at 4, I can't do it on the 3rd, I can do it on the set, whatever the case may be. I found this free scheduling tool, AI standing for artificial intelligence. Once you sign up for this, this plugs into my 365 subscription. I can enter in who the people are that I want to schedule a meeting with. I can give it parameters around the dates and the times. I can find a free slot on my calendar. Whatever the parameters set, it will then go out. It will send emails to all the people that I want to meet with. It will get their feedback, and it will come back to everyone with, this is a time when everyone can meet. And I don't have to do anything. I don't have to answer any emails. Just when the meeting gets scheduled, it shows up on your calendar, and you know everyone can meet at that time. There's a version of this that's built into Office. I think it's called Free Time or something like that. The problem with that, at least what I found, is it only works with people who are in your organization and tied to that subscription of Office 365. So it can look at their calendars, but otherwise it's not looking at anyone's calendar outside of the organization. It just shows it as unavailable. So I have found this tool to be a real lifesaver. It keeps getting better. They make lots of improvements to it. I love it. I use it all the time. And I think it's something worth checking out again if you find yourself conference call scheduling hell. Speakerphones. If you're relying solely on your smartphone as your speakerphone, you know it sounds like you have fallen into the bottom of a well and you're trying to get out, right? It's tinny, sounds kind of far away. I would invest, and I have invested in a speakerphone. I actually have the Anker PowerConf speakerphone now. It has built-in noise suppression. It's Bluetooth enabled. I can connect it to my phone. I can connect it to my laptop. It's compatible with all of the video conferencing tools like Zoom or Teams or whatever the case may be. The sound is off. You can use it in a conference room. It can pick up sound from several feet away, very crystal clearly. This one costs some money though. This is about $120, I think, last time I checked it out on Amazon. But if you find yourself in need of a speakerphone and you don't want to rely just on the phone, landline, if anyone uses landlines anymore, this is the tool that I would recommend that you get. If you also find yourself stuck in hundreds and hundreds of emails and you just wish that the most important emails would somehow magically bubble to the top and you could focus on those and all the rest of the stuff would drop to the bottom, this is an application that you can add to your system called Spark. What it does is it uses artificial emails that you want to see. It can look for emails that are sent by people versus machines. It can put those people emails first. It gives you a searching capability. You can tell it, I don't want to deal with this email now. Please remind me in a week or 3 days, and it will bring that email back to you in a week or 3 days. You don't have to file it. You don't have to do anything with it. It'll just come back to you. You can use send later. There are versions for teams, so you can use this as a group. You can collaborate on drafting emails. You can discuss emails privately, so you don't have to have an email chain with your thoughts that would be discoverable. So if you're lawyers, obviously you're concerned about that. You can have a side conversation about how would I respond to this email. It's very powerful. It adds a lot of really great functionality, and it's free. So it's pretty cool. I really like this one. I like this one
Good.
too.
Is this one new to 2020 on your blog? I don't remember this one from the past, but I remember reading about it.
Would have this, I think, was 19, Mary, I think.
Okay, then I missed it.
It would have been in the last couple,
Yeah.
one of the last couple.
So many people have issues with getting control over the inbox.
Yes, and if you're like me, my goal is always inbox zero, and I fail miserably at it every day. But you can get a little bit closer with something like that. Another really neat tool, and this is something I've just started to use. This is called Zapier, and what Zapier does is it takes different program applications. So you can use it on your computer, you can use it on your phone, and you can connect them. And those connections are called triggers. And if something happens that triggers, then what it'll do is it'll take whatever that trigger event is and it'll walk it through several pieces of technology to get you to whatever event that you would like. So for example, and you see here, the trigger is someone registers for your event. Well, if you connect it, it will automatically connect to your email that will send them email on the next steps to take. It will send them a welcome email, a reminder email. It can do a lot of different things. So what you don't have to do is remember, like, okay, for everybody who accepted, now I have to go back and send an email that does this. And for everyone that I sent that email to, I want to send a reminder to. This will automate all of that for you. And there's this community where they have thousands and thousands of how you can connect different functionality to do different things. So if you find yourself spending hours every week just looking at, something happened here, now I have to take a step here, now I have to take another step here, this can automate all of that using artificial intelligence and do it for you without you having to lift a finger, other than just creating the zap, which is what it's called. All those things together. Really neat. Again, I just started using it, so I can't talk a whole lot about it, but I think it's going to be pretty cool. And I've already seen it do a couple things that are pretty neat. This is the last one that we'll talk about in this section. So it used to be, I don't know if I used Dragon speech recognition software when it first came out. So this was a technology where you would, I'm old enough, I know maybe I don't look it, but I'm old enough to remember when you used a dictaphone. When I came out of law school, we dictated everything. We gave tapes to secretaries who would type it up, would send it back to you, you would edit it, and it would go back and forth. Of course, no one does that anymore, but I missed the ability to write by speaking, talking to something and then having the writing come back. So the first versions of Dragon I thought would be really cool. They were terrible. You spent more time correcting whatever the heck it is it thought you were saying. This is now maybe version 20. I don't know. It's been around for a long time. It is incredibly accurate, and it gets better the more and more that you use it. It recognizes your voice. It recognizes your inflections. It recognizes a lot of things about how you speak and how you want that into technology. And there are different versions here. There's a home version. There's a professional version. There's even a legal version for lawyers that is especially tailored just to deal with legal issues. So if you're someone who misses that, or maybe you're not the fastest typist in the world, that you think you can quickly and competently things sent back to you. You can use this for texting, you can use it for memos, you can use this to draft emails, and all you're doing is you're just speaking into the microphone and you're watching it type and come up, and then you can correct it, of course, but if it's what you want, you can just go send and off it goes. So pretty slick, really cool technology. I think the really next innovation, in my opinion, on something like this will be the ability to then do accurate translations. So if you want to send a note to someone in France and have this accurately translated into French in a way that doesn't look laughable, that's something I suspect will be coming down the road. Probably not there yet, but I would watch out for that. So this is, I think, really cool technology. This one is not free. I think there's a free version, if I remember right, but the version that's probably the best is the paid for version. Okay,
And
so
if I
that
may, Sterling,
yes.
if I may just link two together, whatever dictation service you're using, whether it's Dragon or the one on your cell phone or on your desktop, that the dictation with Grammarly makes a big difference. It'll catch those words that it's hearing, what, like where, right? Our, your. Grammarly helps catch
Right,
the
it puts them in
dictation
context. It recognizes the context that you're speaking and what the right. Are those homonyms? I guess yes. There we go. Fifth grade English coming back to help me. So yes, it will recognize the right for that. Okay, so let's transition now that will just kind of make your day-to-day life easier and talk about some things for the legal department as a whole. And if you're at a law firm, a lot of these things would translate to a law firm, but I'm going to focus on things. My background primarily has been in-house. So though I am at a law firm now, most of my career was spent as an in-house attorney. Okay, so the big bad boy on the block still, in my opinion, is Office 365 and Teams. I have not found, in my opinion, I have not found anything better than Office. I think Microsoft has made huge strides in making its products better, making them easier to use, making them web-enabled, and I still think this is the gold standard. I know a lot of people use Google for Office. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think the way that the Microsoft Office products integrate, the sheer variety of tools, the tools that they're adding all the time. If you're an in-house legal department and you're not using Office, you're probably a little bit behind the curve. Again, reasonable minds can differ. That's just my opinion. So that would be maybe the first thing that I would recommend, with a special shout out to Teams, which is, we started using Teams maybe 18 months ago, pretty crappy. It is much, much, much better now. It does a lot of really cool things, especially around the video conferencing, the sharing of documents, the abilities to collaborate in real time. You can create channels where you can have chats going on, which saves you all that wear and tear on emails, which is really important. And of course, it integrates with all the other Office tools. So not only are you collaborating on Teams, but you can access OneNote, you can access Word and PowerPoint, SharePoint, OneDrive, whatever the case may be. It brings it all together and you can use it all kind of in this one central location. So we, at our monthly department meetings, we actually and 5 minutes talking about something that you can do with teams, because we think it's that important now we function on a day-to-day basis. So special shout for improving teams dramatically, I would say, over the last 12 months. Practical law. Okay, as I said, I get paid nothing to tell you about any of these products, to give you my recommendation. If you are a legal department and you are not using practical law, you are failing, in my opinion. This is the single best tool for in-house lawyers available today. It's from Thomson Reuters. I have used this at every in-house stop, starting in, I think, 10 was maybe the first time I
Sterling, you're
heard about
frozen.
this. Started
I'm
out,
sorry.
get yourself a free demo. I'm sorry, Mary Claire, what's that?
You froze.
Oh, I'm sorry. The internet can be wonky. So practical law, I first heard about this in 2010 from my European team. I was general counsel. That's where it started. We used it. We all fell in love with it instantly. They will do free demos. They will give you free trials. Highly recommend it. But what this does, there are practice areas and subjects. It's global in scope, so it's different countries, it's different areas. The materials are prepared by experts or big law attorneys. You'll see the firms, you will recognize the law firms. There are forms and templates and summaries of the law. There's annotations, toolkits around entire areas, checklists, a feature that's called What's Market. So if you're negotiating a contract and someone's giving you a clause and you go, that doesn't sound right, you can clause through What's Market, and it will tell you this is a clause in 10% of contracts or 90% of contracts. And you can use that information to go, okay, we have to take this, or no, this is a very unusual provision. It has legal information. It is, in my opinion, the single indispensable tool for in-house lawyers. I wish I could tell you it was cheap. It's not, it's expensive, but I can't find a tool that's better or that's more worth the price, in my opinion. Again, nothing from Tom for saying any of this. I just believe it is the best tool available. So quickly, about what I call the big three, right? So this is a document management system, a contract management system, and an e-billing system. Now, I am not going to go into detail because this would be an entire day we could spend doing this. So what I have done is, on the left-hand side, looking at these systems, these are the things you want to look for. Is it secure? Is it accessible over the web? Does it allow for collaboration? Most importantly, is it easy to use? Is it intuitive, right? I don't have to spend a lot of time training. My team's going to pick it up right away. When I'm looking at document management systems, here are some of the providers that I would recommend you check out. Again, I'm not going to talk about all these. You probably recognize a lot of these names. Some you may not. The same for contract management in the upper right. These are some contract management tools. And in the lower right, e-billing systems. You probably recognize some of these names. I wish we had time to go through and talk about all the cool features, all the cool things these can do. You can certainly explore that on your own. And if you are curious, want some information, you want some help, reach out to me. I have spent a lot of time looking at a lot of these systems. We actually used several of these at various stops in my in-house career. So those are the big three. All in legal departments should think pretty hard about having certainly an e-billing system, a contract management system, and certainly a document management system of some type. Electronic signatures. Now that we are all at home and we're scattered around the world even, I think this is table stakes for in-house legal departments, and that is any signature tool. The two big ones, Adobe Sign and DocuSign, these are screenshots. Thank you, Nimbus, for this. There are dozens of others. They all work basically the same, but what they do is they allow you to sign documents remotely. Most of them will allow you to have your actual signature. You can capture a signature and then reuse it. Some of them sign, you just type your signature in, or it gives you kind of a really, I don't know, generic version of your signature, that's fine. The really, really super secure systems, which most people don't need, they actually give you an encryption, a key with a number that is protected by encryption. That's probably a level of authentication that most legal departments don't need. But having an electronic signature tool will allow you to get away from scanning and signing and collecting and putting documents together, because you can just send it out, get it signed electronically. It comes back. Those contract management tools that I just mentioned, most of those will then not only operate that process for you, they'll store the contract for you. You can eliminate a lot of effort and time when all of these tools are working together. So looking for any signature tool that would work for you, I would highly recommend that as well. And if you need some help, you don't just want to talk to me, the good people at LogGeeks, which is an artificial intelligence company that focuses on legal contracts and using artificial intelligence to help you review and prepare those documents. They have a buyer's guide. They were doing this every year, but the latest one is still the 2019 version. It may be due to COVID. It may be due to lots of reasons that they did not publish a 2020 version. I didn't get a chance to ask them. I actually know some of the people there. But here is a link to this. It's free. They go through all different types of technologies that you want to use for a legal department or in a law firm. And you can check out their buyer's guide and what they're looking for. It's extremely useful research. I always had a copy of the latest edition of this handy and still use it all the time. And then I think the last thing I want to mention here in the law firm, this is a company from Australia, and they reached out to me a couple months ago, and I actually had a demo of this. And what they call it, it's a legal operating system, and it combines document assembly, matter management, legal, all into one desktop. And so if you're an in-house legal department and you don't want to have to click between different apps, this brings up kind of one tool for you, and all the different things that you can do with that tool, you just click on the different apps on your desktop. It's I would say pretty cutting edge. If you go to the website, there's a link here. You can see some of the companies that are starting to adopt it. It's worth, if you're interested, I would say it's worth checking, getting a demo. I think this is something take off here in a few years because there's just so much information. It can generate reports, all kinds of really cool things that you can do with this. I think it's really clever. And quite frankly, I'm surprised that some of the big names like Lexis or Thomson Reuters haven't done anything like this yet. They probably have something underway, or maybe they're going to buy these guys, who knows. But this is something that's coming, in my opinion. And if you want to check it out early, here's the place where you can go. Really, really exciting technology. And I was very impressed with the demo that they gave me. Okay, so we talked about how to make your work life easier generally. We talked about technology for law departments. And now we're going to talk about cool tech for remote work, which seems to be what we're all doing these days. If anyone's going into the office working, I don't know who that is, maybe sporadically, certainly not like it was, a year ago. And again, all of these, what I'm telling you here for remote work, you can easily say is for the legal department. You could easily say makes my work life easier. There's no hard borders between these. This is just how I decided to break things out. But here's some cool tech for your days at home, right? And the first thing I wanted to ask myself is like, well, hey, is this the new normal, right? Is this how we're going to collaborate going forward? Is this how we're going to have to engage? Is this how we're going to have to get more done because we're all going to be scattered versus, being down the hall from each other? Even though I would say when I was in the office, I would find it funny that people next door would send me emails or text messages, even though they were right next door. But so maybe we already are kind of falling into the technology is easier trap, and this will just make it easier go forward. Zoom, Zoom is better than Teams. I'm sorry, Microsoft. It is. It's easier to use. Teams has the advantage of being part of the Office suite and really truly integrating. You can integrate Zoom with Office 365. It's just not the same as with Teams, but I prefer Zoom when I get an invite with Zoom versus Teams because I just find it easier. I think it works almost 100% of the time. It's easier to share documents. I don't know why, but it is. So I would put Zoom high on my list. Slack. Slack is about to be bought by Salesforce. I don't know what they're going to do with it. I don't know how they're going to integrate it. But at my last in-house counsel job, we use Slack as a primary communication tool between the members. We rarely emailed each other. We would Slack each other. We had channels. I had my daily message on Slack where everybody in the legal team would go. I would start the morning with, hello, here are some things to pay attention to. Here's some things that are coming up. It was kind of my way of talking to the entire team without sending out an email. I found it very easy to use. Teams has something similar, but again, it's not quite as easy. I think it's getting better, and we're trying to default to using it, but I still think Slack is easier. So if you have Slack, again, or if you're looking for something that would just kind of get you away from the everything's about email, this is the tool that I would pick, Slack.
We are proponents of Slack and saw the announcement come up Tuesday or Wednesday this week about Salesforce. I sure hope they don't muck it up, as they say.
Yes, we can always you can always hope what happened. Add more time, I would have used Poll Everywhere. This allows you to build live polling into your presentations. And what that allows you to do then, I would be able to pose a question. I could get live feedback from you. You could just be using your text messaging function on your phone. You could use your desktop. There's a million different ways you can communicate. It's very powerful. There's a free version that I use. It works generally as well. If you need to do this for like 500 people, then maybe you would have to go to the paid version. I just love this. It works with PowerPoint. It works with slides. It works with Google. Any presentation tool that you can use, you can get live feedback. We use it in our meetings. If you want to get anonymous, where should we go for the offsite? You can do this with the Poll Everywhere poll. There are other tools out there. I think Poll Everywhere is the easiest and works the best. Crisp. If you work at home as much as I do, if we had done this yesterday, I would have turned Crisp on, because Wednesday is yard day in our neighborhood, meaning everyone in the neighborhood has the yard people coming with the leaf blowers and the mowers, and the background noise is incredible, even if I go to the bowels of our house. Crisp is using artificial intelligence in a free tool that you can download. And when you bring up your choice of how do you want to communicate, so if I was bringing up my speaker, I can do a crisp version and it suppresses the noise. And it is amazing how it can isolate and take out everything other than my voice from what people on the phone are hearing. So if you want to get rid of kids crying, you want to get rid of lawnmowers, you want to get rid of dogs barking, this works both as the presenter and as the listener. And it takes out an incredible amount of background noise. Again, it's free, highly recommend it, works super easily, and it works all the time. So great technology. Skyroam. If you're like me, sometimes my internet gets wonky because everybody's using internet now, and you never know what time of day, and you never know when it's really, really, really going to matter. And what I have found is this company called Skyroam, and they have this little device. This is the Solus. You can take this anywhere in the world, any country in the world, and you'll have access to the internet via 4G or 5G is coming. It doesn't cost you anything extra, just whatever the subscription is, and you can buy by the day, you can buy by the month, you can buy a package of days. And whenever your internet is not going to work, wherever, if you're in Australia and you're in a hotel and maybe the internet's not great, you can pull this up, you can use it. It'll connect Wi-Fi in that country, and now you're going to have really fast, really reliable. our daughters used to travel a lot. They each had one of these devices anywhere they were in the world. They didn't have to rely on their speakerphone for internet. They could connect with the Solus app, very inexpensive, relatively speaking. I use it here when my internet isn't going to work, or some days it's just not working at all. I just turn on Skyroam, then I can wait for the repair people to come, but I'm still functioning because I have internet at a usable speed, thanks to this device. So another really great device for work at home. If you have dead spots in your house, I think most people do now, there are lots of mesh networks. What a mesh network does is it allows you to put these little receivers and repeaters throughout your house. They connect to your router or to the central device that's plugged into your router, and they can spread the internet out, and it becomes seamless. As you walk through the house, as you move from room to room, you stay connected. There's no drop-offs. There's no drop-off in speed. The best one that I found is Eero. This is the one that we're going to buy and put in our house. We've had another version. It hasn't worked that well. Not of Eero, but another tool we're going to use. We have that we just can't fix. Obviously, it's not inexpensive. There's a Google Mesh version. There's some other versions out there. I think this is the one that works the best in my experience. So you'll probably love it. Okay. If you're working remotely and you need a notary, or if you have someone who's remote and they need to notarize a document, you can do it all online. Certainly here in the United States, all the states accept online notaries. And this is the functionality that I use, notarycam.com. I'm not going to belabor this point. If you need something notarized, you can do it all online. And this is what I would use to do it. I've used it for personal notary needs, and we've used it for work notary needs. And it's relatively inexpensive, and it works great. And it's all perfectly legally valid. Here's some other cool tech. I know we're going to run out of time, so this, I think, is my last slide.
And we do have some questions.
Yeah, so Loom Cube, which is up in the upper right, this will provide lighting to make your videos a little better. I actually have one on. It depends on where I actually put my head, I think, if I'm getting the benefit of the Loom Cube and making my my appearance a little better. If you need a second monitor, in the lower right, this tool called Duet. It's an app. You can then turn your iPad into a second monitor. I know a lot of people like to use two monitors, but it's hard if you're at home, you don't have a monitor. If you're on the road, you might have a laptop and an iPad. This will fix that problem for you. The photo stick. If you have tons and tons of photos on your phone and you need to get them off of your phone because it's affecting performance, or you just want to get those photos somewhere, this plugs in. One button takes all the photos off of your phone and to your computer, store those photos. WeBoost in the upper left. If you have dead spots for your phone, and here, but we have a vacation home and we do have dead spots. This is what we use to make sure that you have cell phone access everywhere in the house. Just boosts the signal. And then lastly, if you're just looking for a charger that is super fast, has multiple ports, Aukey has this Omnia Mix 4. It's a 100-watt charger. It's blazing fast. You don't have to wait for hours for something to charge. It charges things in minutes. I found that to be, all of these to be excellent tools for when you're remote. The last thing I'll mention here is if you need tech support, don't forget about YouTube. I am able to solve problems on my computers with my printer, with my phone. I just type in my problem on YouTube, and almost inevitably, I'm going to find a video where someone is walking me through how to solve that problem in 4 or 5 steps. I have found it as a lifesaver. We do have IT support. Sometimes it's hard to get a hold of them. Sometimes they don't know the answer. I have inevitably found the answer on YouTube. So it's free, it's available, and it works. Here are some resources, as I mentioned, and we're going to jump into questions. Joanna Stern in the Wall Street Journal writes an excellent column a couple times a week. She has a work from home guide. It's free if you're a subscriber. There are some links here. The ABA, these are all free. Links to their PowerPoint presentation on 60 and 60. And of course, I would be remiss for not linking you to my blog on how to implement or AI or electronic signatures. So please check those out. Okay, I'm going to stop there. I'm going to say thank you, and then we're going to take some questions. This is my contact information. Please contact me if you have a question or you want to talk to me. These are some books that I've written, and here are some questions that we're going to take. So, Mary Claire, fire away.
Thank you. Wow, that was like a speed, concise, clear, crisp overview of technology categories, categorized into those three categories. So thank you very much, Sterling. I'm going to just jump right into the questions here. The first one is, and I'm giving them in the order in which they came in. Will Kubernetes search contact management systems? Will Kubernetes search contact management systems that are cloud-based?
Yes.
Okay.
I think you have to buy the paid version for that, though, but it will.
Okay. Will Dragon integrate with a contact management database like Bullhorn?
I don't know.
Okay.
Great question, though. I don't know the answer.
Okay. Lexis has come out with a general counsel package that is very similar to Practical Law. It is bundled with Lexis Legal Research and other products. Have you given it a try? Thoughts in comparison to Practical Law?
I have not tried it. I would love to get a demo of it. We used Lexis at one of my GC stops. They did not have that tool, so I'm not sure. I guess if I was trying to decide, I would have demos of both. And if I was going to ask for a demo, you can reach out to Thomson Reuters or the LexisNexis. And what I would do is give them some real life problems that you face so that when they do the demo, it's going to focus on things that you actually are dealing with. Because if you don't do that, when they give you the demo, they may talk about employment law and you don't care about employment law. You really care about contracts or antitrust or whatever the case may be. But I have not used the Lexis tool. So, competition's always good. So if they have a better mousetrap, that's great. But I have not seen it yet.
Thank you. Are there any security issues that you are aware of with Skyrim?
Not that I'm aware of. It's password protected. So it's just the same as connecting to the wireless in your home. I do have a VPN through Norton that I use. So that's an extra level of protection if you're at all concerned about that. But I have not heard of any data breaches or anything involving Skyrim.
Okay. And can Euro, this is I'm sure a work-related question. Can Euro be placed outside so there is outdoor Wi-Fi connectivity?
Can you say that? You say that again?
Sure. Can Euro be placed outside so there is outdoor Wi-Fi connectivity?
Yes.
Okay.
As long as it's the issue is always going to be when you're using a Wi-Fi mesh. So there's your central router, right? So what comes into the house through your cable or fiber or whatever it is, there's your router. Then connected into the router is kind of the mothership of the web mesh. So it's usually a small device. You set that down. That then sends out a signal that gets picked up by those devices that are placed throughout your house. You can place one of those outside or near outside. It can even be, by a window and be able to pick that signal up. It just has to have the ability, one way or another, to get the signal from the mothership in order to relay it through that smaller device. But you can place it anywhere as long as it can pick up the signal.
Great, thank you. And out of everything you mentioned, what are the 2 or 3 most life-changing tech ideas that everyone should definitely consider?
Practical Law or LexisNexis. I don't mean to slight them, but I still think Practical Law is the absolute best tool. I think contract management tools are becoming table stakes in legal departments just because what I have found historically is that a lot of contracts are stored on people's laptops. If they go away or that laptop gets damaged, you have no access. You can't find it, you lose it. And then the ability
Sterling, you
to now
froze.
assemble contracts. You can route the contracts, you can get them signed, it'll bring it back and store it. It can manage, key dates and key things. So those tools to me are really important. And then anything that boosts your internet signal, because we are all so dependent on the internet. And if you don't have a good signal, we all know how miserable a day that is if things are really slow. Those just jump out at me as the big three.
Good. Well, those are the questions that have been posted. I don't believe any more have come in. I'm looking both in the chat as well as the Q&A, but you
Okay.
have gotten, those are the questions that are here. And I think it's fair enough to end a minute or two early, unless there's anything else, any other imparting wisdom that you would like to share with us. But before you do that, I just must again thank you for your depth and breadth of knowledge, your ability to communicate it quickly, crisply, and concisely. I feel like we did speed technology, and I'm delighted that this is a recording. It will be sent out to those who registered. So if you've missed something or you want to refresh or go back, excuse me, to something, you will receive a recording, as well as the contact information on Sterling Miller to be able to reach out and connect with him. And as he's encouraged everyone, please feel free to reach out to him. On behalf of Princeton Legal Search Group, we thank you for your time today. And Sterling, any closing remarks from you?
Yeah, don't be afraid you'll break something with technology. Try it, bang on it, but you're not going to break anything. You're not going to lose anything. So have fun with it and try it. If it works, keep it. If it doesn't work, throw. You only keep the stuff that's useful, but just don't be afraid of it. Your life easier, and your work life especially much easier.
Terrific. All right. So with that, we will end our webinar this afternoon. We thank you all for coming and for your time, and hope that it was a valuable learning lunch experience. Take care.
Thanks, everyone. Stay safe.
Bye.